It's past 8 now here on Kiwi. Time to digest some of the issues of the week with T Radar. Good morning, T Radar.
Well, good morning. How are you?
Good. Live in Wellington, having made it down from Auckland last night through the very busy airport that is Auckland at the moment.
Even busier than you could imagine. Fortunately, we were fairly early because we arrived slap bang in the middle of the Tongan welcome. Well, in fact, it had sort of finished the welcome. It happened and the bus was on the road heading out. But there was, saw the newspaper say there was a couple of hundred cars, but there must have been a lot more than that. And whoever it is that's selling Tongan flags is probably a millionaire by now, I would imagine.
Yeah. Well, flags non-stop, man. There's so many flags flying from cars.
Oh, look, and we were out sort of in South Auckland on Saturday at the markets and things. You know, the Samoans and the Tongans, the flags were absolutely everywhere. I did hear from some people that a couple of Samoans have said there'd been a bit of sort of a little bit of argy-bargy going on pre the cup, but you can certainly see, you know, who people are, and then occasionally there'd be, you know, a sort of a car drive past with an All Blacks flag. But it'll be one small black flag, and it'll be next to oceans of cars literally covered in flags, and they're all, you know, there's flags lying along the motorway in various suburban streets that have not been fastened properly. But yes, the number of people and the support for the Tongans yesterday, it was quite something to see, and it actually sort of made you think, I wonder if it's a little bit more exciting in some ways for those smaller nations. You know, the real coming together and a celebration of their culture and their sort of patriotism.
You're probably right, actually, but this must be what it feels like to live in the States, what with all these flags waving around.
It sort of is in some way, although generally that's their flags. Whereas here, and it's
true.
nice to sort of see, you know, often you've got all these sort of, you know, peoples from all over the world who've come here as, you know, whether they're first generation or second or third, you know, and they often sort of blend in, but it's nice to see all those flags pull out and you can go, oh, okay, that's, you know, there's them and there's the Fijians and there's the, you know, the South Africans and whoever else they may be. But no, the Tongans, and just driving around, there were kids. This is just on the weekend, standing in their driveway waving flags. So, yeah, very exciting nonetheless. Unless, of course, you're a sheep or a deer or a cow, and you're part of the extra 70,000 of those that people are apparently going to eat during the World Cup.
70,000, really? Wow.
70,000, apparently, and 25,000 lambs, 11,000 cattle, and more than 31,000 deer, in addition to the normal market supply.
Crikey.
That's a lot of deer.
So that's all going to go out through, what, restaurants, I suppose?
Yeah, I guess it is, yes. And so if you're looking at 95,000 visitors and you're doing an extra 70,000 animals, that's a lot of meat per person.
Because you'd have to bet that the average rugby enthusiast is probably not vegetarian.
Probably not. No, I'm sure that there'd be a few out there. And I'm wondering if any of the All Blacks are vegetarian. I suspect they're probably not. They're on I would imagine, some high performance diet.
No doubt. Yeah, they eat a carcass each every day.
Exactly. Wouldn't it be great if that was the case, you know, and you still, you're imagining teams from Georgia or somewhere like that, and they just sort of have spit roasted animals put on tables, and they cut, you know, Russian way. Is it oddly racist to say that about Georgians?
No, not. And talking about the Russians, I think we're expecting Vladimir Putin, to come into New Zealand. I saw a news story a few weeks back saying that that there was a distinct possibility that he would be a guest, John Key's guest.
Wow.
But I was thinking, well, seeing he's in the country, we might as well put him to good use. We'll send him off to go look for that Black Panther down in Canterbury that's on the loose, and maybe the elusive moose in Fiordland.
That's right, and also I think, didn't they have an escape from one of the cheetah or something from
of
the lion parks?
Yep.
Yeah, and he could go. He could do it all shirtless.
Yes. On horseback, indeed.
As is his want. And he'll sort of, John Key, I wonder if they've got a sort of a secret workout campaign going, and should Putin challenge into a sort of a shirtless wrestle or something like that. Yeah.
Or it'd be, I could imagine one of those, a sword fight. Why not a good old-fashioned sword fight?
Bit of a duel. Yes, that's got out of fashion. He could give Chris Carter some tips, because Chris Carter's valedictory speech this week, I think he's resigned and he's off to Afghanistan.
That's right.
Clearly the political wilderness for Chris Carter. He's going to fight corruption, and we've been assured that this isn't a sort of a job for the boys arranged by Helen, Clark over at the UN, but he's off to go and do that. Not a cushy number, I wouldn't imagine, and certainly no end of work to get rid of that, the corruption, the paper pushing, all of the billions of dollars disappearing over there, the drug money, the the contracts, God, he's got his work cut out for him.
He certainly does. Yeah, pretty tough operation over there. Of
He
course,
should have written some kind of penance.
Well, that's right.
Gone, I've clearly done wrong. I'm going to go to another part of the world and do better.
Yeah, well, good on him. But of course, he wouldn't be heading there if something hadn't happened 10 years ago.
That's right. Yes, we're fast approaching, I guess, the anniversary of 9/11. When's that? It must be
this weekend, Sunday.
Sunday.
Well,
so
Monday our time.
Monday our time, yes. And plenty of articles and things coming out about that. There was there was a very famous photograph that wasn't published for a while, and it was taken from across the harbour, looking back at the towers, and there was a group of people with bicycles sitting around sort of looking as if they were sunbathing, and it was a lot of controversy. People were saying, this is the face of America these days. They'll just bask in the sun, oblivious to all the stuff that's happening. But actually, the people in the photo have come out and said, well, it wasn't like that at all. We were actually deeply traumatised, and we were sort of just sitting there in the sun looking across the water at this situation. But a lot of change, some very good articles, as I say, coming out about how in many ways the terrorists won, and that they delivered to America a decade of fear, people living in terror, all the sort of the security, over the billion or trillion, 2.6 trillion, I think, in wars fought overseas, near bankruptcy. So, you don't have to constantly be actually at war, I suppose, with the country to change them. All of the torture that's happened, the rendition, that disappearance of what it was that I guess people believed America, and maybe perhaps a naive way, may have been prior to that.
And of course, the conspiracy theories failed to they're just not going away.
They're not going away. In fact, I saw a fantastic one this morning that I was reading online about a guy who believed that all of those people who run those get-rich schemes on the internet are all tied up with Sarah Palin and the Cubans and the New World Order, and he had it's meticulously researched. He had photographs of some of the most wanted people in the world, sort of terror suspects, and he'd linked them up, these photographs, he'd matched them to get-rich millionaires and people who ran these schemes. And you looked at them and went, there's an odd similarity, and I can see that if you believe this, you could figure it out and maybe go, that could be true. But yes, they're all certainly out there.
I was talking about conspiracy theories. I reckon this whole Happy Feet thing, it's a bit of a conspiracy going on down there.
They dropped them off, and they thought off he goes to swim back home again. Yeah. And now they're going, he might be going north, but then they're going, we can't really be sure because it's not a GPS tracker. It's just a satellite tracker that I believe, they glued it to him.
Well, they glued it to his feathers, and then I read this morning that his feathers are going to fall off soon anyway because he's going to be molting as the summer season approaches. So the track is going to fall off with him. So we'll never know what happened.
Oh, I guess how else do you fix a tracker to a penguin?
Oh,
you can't put it on his little feet because then he'd get all wobbly when he swam and he'd just end up swimming around in circles. And you can't put a little waist belt on him because then it'd get all chafy.
Can't you inject it under his skin or something?
Well, you would have thought so. I don't know.
I mean,
they are quite large.
They track sharks for years, don't they?
Yeah. Well, marlin and things like that. Yeah, I'm not sure how long they sort of go for. I mean, the battery, the signal, you'd think they could go for quite a long time, but as you say, maybe it's just there to, we'll placate ourselves, we'll throw them back into the water and off he goes, and eventually the signal will naturally die and we will be none the wiser as to what's happened to this very expensive piece.
Very expensive penguin. I just think that that the people behind all this don't rate his chances, and then there's this whole public hype. All the kids love him. So imagine if suddenly they saw that he'd been eaten or something along those lines. What would they tell the kids? Because it's all on the website and everything, so it's easier not to know.
It does happen, I'm not sure if it was you I was discussing this with a little while ago. They had a release of some penguins over in the States, and there was a huge ceremony, and everyone gathered on the foreshore, and I think it was about half a dozen of them, and off they go. They set them out into the sea, and off they swam, and literally within sight of the shore, a pod of orca whales turned up and ate them all.
Oh, no.
Nature at its best.
Nature at its best. Hey, thanks, T-Radar. Enjoy Wellington.
We'll speak again next week. I'll be back in Wellington again, and the World Cup will have started. We'll be well underway, so good luck to Tonga, I think, playing the All Blacks this Saturday. A bit of controversy. They want to perform their hakas separately, but the IRB and their infinite wisdom, which is generally, it's not a lot of wisdom, wants them to perform them simultaneously.
Oh, wow. Okay. That'll be a sight. All right. Cheers, T-Radar. See ya.